What's going on, everybody? Elliot here from Movie Files, talking about my early screening of the new film coming out this Friday, Underwater. This is, I guess, my first new movie of the new year that I've seen, and I'm very excited to share my thoughts with you all in this non-spoiler review. Before we dive into it, for those that are new to this channel, definitely consider subscribing. Hit that bell so you can stay up to date with all my latest movie reviews, TV reviews, unboxings, giveaways, and all the fun things we do on this very channel. And if and when you've seen this film, Underwater, I want to know what you all thought of the film. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll have some fun discussions down there. With that being said, let's jump into this review. A group of researchers are in an underwater lab at 11,000 meters deep when an earthquake causes the vehicle to be destroyed and exposes the team to the risk of death. They are forced to walk deep into the sea with inefficient oxygen to try to survive. However, as they move across the seafloor, they discover the presence of a deadly creature. So this new sci-fi horror film coming out this Friday was directed by William Eubank and stars Kristen Stewart, Jessica Henwick, Vincent Cassel, and TJ Miller. And let's just jump right into the positives. One of the things that I really liked about this film in regards to the production aspect of the movie, I thought that it was very believable. I thought that this film did a really good job of bringing in practical effects. You know, the costumes, the suits they were in, the boats and the ships and everything that was brought to this production, I thought was a really high value for this movie and made it very believable and really created another thing that I liked for as far as positives go, really created the idea of being trapped underwater. Me personally, if it was up to me, if I had a choice between being trapped underwater or being trapped in space, I'm taking space 9 out of 10 times. I don't know what it is about water, but I am not a fan of being in it, and I'm not a fan of being trapped in it. If I had a choice, I would be in space. But this film really does a good job of creating that atmosphere, that fear of being underwater, trapped underwater, and not knowing what's under there with you. I thought they did a good job of doing that and really having some good suspenseful moments around that idea. Another thing that I liked, for the most part, the cast and crew complementing each other's personalities. You know, there weren't two of the same characters, and I like that aspect. You know, we got a certain character that leads the crew, a more logical character. We got Kristen Stewart's character, who's the main lead. So I like the cast and crew that we get there amongst this film, for the most part. We'll get into my content in a little bit. The movie, something that I love when a film does, especially in a kind of a horror sci-fi film, this film may waste no time in getting right into the situation. Literally within minutes, you're thrown into the situation, and it caught me off guard in the best way possible. So I'm like, oh, okay, we're just getting right into it, which I really appreciated. And as far as going back to the cast and crew there were some standouts for me. The two of them being Kristen Stewart, who I'm a fan of. You know, I think of Kristen Stewart in the light of when she's ever brought into these big blockbuster films, and not saying this is a big blockbuster film, but it's, you know, $60 to $80 million production value. You know, I look at her like the same way I look at Natalie Portman. You know, I think Kristen Stewart is a phenomenal actress, as I do with Natalie Portman. But whenever, you know, Natalie Portman or Kristen Stewart are in these big blockbuster films, they sometimes don't always stick the landing for me personally. I don't know if it's the same for you, but, you know, for Kristen Stewart, I thought that she did a pretty good job in this movie in regards to she does have some of those Kristen Stewart tropes that we see in a movie like Twilight, or we see in A Huntsman, where she's kind of, you know, quirky and unsure of herself. But I like that this character had a particular arc where, you know, at first you started off at one point, and then, you know, by the time things really shake up, she's you know, stepping up to the plate. Which is another character that I really like, was Jessica Henwick's character, who definitely started off more timid and not wanting to do the things that need to be done to survive, but she definitely steps up and has a character arc. And those were definitely, out of the whole cast and crew, those were the two most, the characters that got the most arc and got the most backstory, if you ask me. So now kind of transitioning into the cons, as I had mentioned, outside of those two characters played by Kristen and Jessica, no one else got much as far as a backstory nor a character arc. And that was kind of unfortunate, because when you see a movie like this, you want to be able to root for these characters, which I was, but it wasn't, I didn't know who these characters were, so that was kind of unfortunate. There are some moments in this film where you do feel like the thrills and the horror elements are earned, but there's a lot of times when they're not, and it feels forced. And I hate when horror films make you feel like you need to be scared in a situation, like they have quick edits or they really quiet down the audio and they throw things at you. I feel like there was a lot of that going on in this film. Again, I'm a sucker for practical effects. And without giving too much away, when we get these creatures, these CGI creatures, they didn't really look that well to me personally. And then last but not least, or at least, last two things on my list here that I can think of, TJ Miller was completely miscast in this movie. I like TJ Miller in the films that he's in. I'm wearing a Slusher shirt, so for all those Cloverfield fans, him as HUD, I know what what to expect when you get a TJ Miller in a movie like this, but I just feel like he was in a completely different movie, and whenever we would have a serious moment, he would just come in with a joke, and it just kind of sucked the air out of the scene for me personally, which kind of goes hand in hand with the director of this film, who I'm not too familiar with. It felt like there was like an angel on one shoulder and a devil on one shoulder when he was making this film. There were moments where, again, the first half of this movie, and definitely elements in the second and third, where it was like, okay, this is really getting, more into the sci-fi elements, and we're getting some more character development. But then he would throw in a CJ Miller comedy line, or there would be like a weird CG or a weird slow motion shot. It was just kind of a mixture of inconsistent tones for me when it came to this director. So, there's some other nitpick things I could think of. There's some logical things that didn't really make sense, or they didn't explain, like the beginning of the movie with these, and the end of the movie where they have these newspaper clippings kind of explain the situation, but never really diving deep into there. But, just kind of wrapping up this review, overall thoughts, I would say this is a slightly above average January horror film that has some, a good performance from Jessica and Kristen Stewart, really good set pieces, captures that idea of being trapped underwater and creating a good atmosphere around that and not knowing what's around the corner. But at the end of the day, for me, it's a stereotypical type of horror film that does exactly what you imagine it was based on the trailer. So with that being said, I'll give this film a 2.8 out of 5. It's Cloverfield elements, a mixture in with a little bit of Alien, but it doesn't hit those high notes like those two films does. So 2.5 out of 8 for me. I would say when it comes to movies this weekend, Just Mercy I recommend, 1917 I recommend, and then when it comes to this film, if you're looking for a sci-fi film to watch, if you're a sci-fi fan or horror film, go check it out, but don't expect to be blown away by this super in-depth character development story and all that stuff. So with that being said, that's my thoughts of the film. Again, let me know what you all thought of the movie once you see it. Give this video a thumbs up, really helps out the channel. Subscribe to my channel, hit that bell. Make sure to check out my giveaway that I have currently running for my channel for Joker, so check out that video so you can see how I can win. And also check out my reviews, as I had mentioned, for Just Mercy 1917, and I reviewed last week Netflix Dracula, so check out that review. And then coming pretty soon, I got my Servant review for episode 9, and then also I have my top 10 of 2019 coming out this Sunday, so keep an eye out for those videos. Thank you guys for watching this review. Follow me on all my social media accounts, and we'll see you guys in the next video.